Welcome back to my channel, Star Booze.
Carol Burnett hated him to her core. Carol Burnett was born on 1933 April 26 in San Antonio, Texas. Burnett came out of a challenging childhood characterized by familial and economic hardship. She has unstable parents who are both alcoholics, ultimately separated, and Burnett watched her maternal grandma reared her in Asmal Hollywood apartment. In spite of these, despite her early struggles, she found love. Frequently employing comedy as a coping strategy, this natural ability will eventually develop into a revolutionary career that would transform comedy and variety television. After attending UCLA to study drama, Burnett had a big break when she relocated to New York City and started playing in small venues and nightclubs. Her first she brought with her notable achievements the rendition of the humorous tune I composed, A John Foster Dulles Made Me a Fool, Jack DePauw's presentation, which resulted in frequent participation on the Gary Moore late 1950s and early 1960s show. Her combination of heartfelt humor and physical humor and improvisational ability rapidly distinguished herself from her peers. Would later receive an Emmy for her contribution to Moore's program A Hint at Theglery. To come, her career attained iconic significance upon the introduction of the 1967 Carol Burnett show, the program called Variety Sketch, which operated for 11 seasons up until 1978. Broke down boundaries as one of the first performances of its kind to have a female host. A stellar supporting cast that includes Harvey Korman, Tim Conway, Vicki Lawrence with Lyle Wagner. The show became known for its hilarious skits, memorably characters, musical performances, and occasional bloopers that made viewers feel like a part of Burnett's enjoyment capacity to change into a variety of memorable figures that ranged from the foolish but charming Mrs. Wiggins' tough parody prone Scarlett O'Hara and Thegret Gone with the Wind skit cemented her as a comedic genius. Her closing song, "I'm very happy that we spent this time together," she pulled on her ear while singing as her grandmother's silent signal turned into a timeless representation of unity and warmth. The impact of Carol Burnett is widespread. Beyond the confines of her television show, she opened doors for in comedy and paved the way for upcoming followed sketch and talk shows. Her accomplishments proved that women might be both humorous and authoritative. The stage as innovators and leaders. Burnett's capacity to strike a balance between comedy with profound feeling, often vacillating between poignancy and humor within the same sketch, redefined with humor could be. She was also unafraid to tackle social and political issues through the use of satire in her artwork and narrative to capture the era in which, in addition to her renowned television work, Burnett has had a remarkable career. She appeared in movies and theaters, Broadway shows like Once Upon a Time Mattress, and made appearances in movies such as The Four Seasons 1981 and Annie, 1982. Her voice and presence continues to engage audiences in a variety of generations. Burnett also authored several best-selling memoirs, including This Time Together and Another Time, in which she candidly shared her life's delights and challenges with humor and vulnerability. Over the course of her career, Carol Burnett is the recipient of many honors such as several Emmy Awards, Golden Globe, a Tony nomination, and the prestigious Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2005. In 2019, she was honored with the inaugural Golden Globe's Carol Burnett Award, designed specifically to honor exceptional contributions to TV as a worthy homage to a lady who changed the medium outside of her professional honors. Burnett is incredibly. Her genuine charity is admirable, and tenacity. She has continued to be a dark public person who frequently reflects she gliding her modest origins and sharing appreciation for the chances she was considering. Her capacity to relate to audiences personally, regardless of through heartfelt or humorous storytelling, is a unique gift that has endeared her to millions. Carol Burnett's personal life has been touched by various relationships that shaped her both as a person and as an artist. Her undergraduate sweetheart was her first husband. On December 15, 1955, Don Soy, and their union was a tale of youthful romance that started in their early years, expressing the purity and optimism in early relationships. But despite their early close relationship, revealed that their marriage did not survive at demands of time and change goals. Following over 7 years of dating in 1962, Burnett and Soyan got divorced. This initial period of her existence, while separation was a significant outcome, time frame during which Carol changed from a college student into a professional perm, sets the stage for her later success. Not long after her May 4th divorce, 1963, Burnett began a new phase of his life by getting married to Joe, a television producer. Hamilton was a wealthy individual, family background in the entertainment industries. He was a divorced father of 8 kids as well as the brother of Kip Hamilton, an actress. This link highlighted the combination of both personal and professional lives that will turn into a defining feature of Burnett's career. Joe Hamilton was not just her spouse, he was also a crucial partner, having produced her Carnegie Hall in 1962 concert, a significant occasion in Burnett's growing career. This collaboration developed the Carol Burnett Show as one of the most popular variety shows in television history, in which Hamilton created. Their union was therefore profoundly interred with their peculiarities, illustrating a dynamic where love and work affected one another. Carol Burnett and Joe Hamilton together each had 3 daughters who would proceed to leave her own artistic imprint An entertainment industry. Their initial Carrie Hamilton, a daughter, was born in December, on the 5th of 1963. She acquired her mother's artistic spirit and went on to become a writer and actress. Carrie's life was tragically interrupted when she passed away at the age of 38. Pneumonia on January 20, 2002, caused as a consequence of lung cancer's struggle with brain cancer, and her untimely death profoundly impacted Burnett and the familiar lighting the human challenges behind public success. Their second daughter born on January 18, 1967, Jodie Hamilton also welcomed the entertainment industry, but chose a different route. Turning into amateur of motion pictures, Jad is the executive as of 2023 Stephanie Miller Show producer and occasionally makes appearances as an actress, carrying on the custom of participation in the arts but with her undistinctive contributions. Ron Hamilton, their youngest daughter, birth on August 14, 1968, selected the route of music, building out a singing career. The variety of skills of the Hamilton daughters demonstrate the wide-ranging creative atmosphere, supported by Joe Hamilton and Carol Burnett. During Burnett's personal life and marriage led challenging times as well. Includes a miscarriage that she went through in early 1965 while just 9 weeks pregnancy. This loss was a private sadness. It underscored the vulnerabilities even powerful public figures have to deal with it. A reminder that the physical and emotional that come with being a mother. Despite having a busy and prosperous career, despite their professional successes and family life, Burnett and Hamilton's marriage finally ended in divorce in 1908 for dealing with their daughter's stress. Carrie's drug troubles was noted as one significant factor for their parting. However, rather than shrinking from this uncomfortable difficulty, Carol and Joe utilized their experience to help others. They publicly addressed the issues parents face when their kids have trouble with addiction turning into a cause. Additionally, they increased support and awareness. Money for the clinic. Carrie was handled as if it were a personal obstacle into an endeavor to assist others. This proactive strategy demonstrated Burnett's kindness and tenacity in a moving demonstration of their continued dedication to assistance to those struggling with addiction. Carrie and Burnett visited Moscow in 1988 to assist in launching the first-day branch of Alcoholics Anonymous in the Soviet Union. This attempt was both monumental and groundbreaking, reflecting Burnett's passion to advocacy beyond the entertainment industry. Sadly, Joe, in 1991, Hamilton died of cancer, terminating a lengthy and significant collaboration has greatly influenced Burnett's own regarding work-related activities in the 1980s sin. In addition to these individual challenges and victories, Burnett also participated in public advocacy for health. She took part in advertisement for Medic Alert and company that offers medical identification and risk for those in serious conditions. Circumity and Stanisis and Nananant, Manonan and Martin and Ananant. Participation was particularly significant since she emerged as the medic's symbolic 1 millionth member. Alert, getting the 1 millionth bracelet. This prize highlighted her contribution to health awareness and personal accountability, adding a new level of complexity to her public image many years after the fact. November 24, 2001. This time, Carol Burnett got married to Brian Miller, a 23-year-old drummer junior. This marriage takes place later in her life, served as an example of Burnett's persistent faith in friendship and love, regardless of age or situation. Brian Miller provided new vitality and partnership into her life, signifying regaining and continuing personal happiness, while Carol Burnett is internationally celebrated for her warmth, wit, and enduring relationships with legendary figures in Hollywood like as Lucille Ball, Julie Andrews, and Betty White. There remained one name that never appeared on her guest lists, one performer whose presence could dim Dick Van Dyke to instantly lift her spirits. The public adored the funny Van Dyke, brilliant with a lanky charm, physical humor, and kind on-screen persona. But in reality, a cold front had built between him and Burnett, one that evolved into a peaceful, painful estrangement that extended decades. Their initial clash happened during the late 1960s, when they were both at their most high abilities. Burnett was in charge of her own variety show to enormous success, while Van Dyke was already well known for Dick Van Dyke performance and was going into the variety scene himself. It was during a brief appearance as a guest on a Seep that the two initially exchanged a rehearsal area right from the start. Their Burnett's creative impulses never got along. Careful with character and timing, according to reports. Van Dyke's nuanced, sloppy, improv-heavy, off-the-cuff style and decadent. She was annoyed with what she perceived his inability to adhere to the script, undermining meticulously planned sketches that are impromptu distracts that diverted focus from cohesive of the group. Van Dyke, however, Burnett was perceived as domineering, and her predisposition to be humorous when behind the camera to direct each and every aspect of a sketch, from illumination to the delivery of the punchline. He was irritated and thought she was a staging, overly protective of her mother-type displays tone, and is unwilling to let impromptu pandemonium to giveth comedy. Following a number of heated arguments, some of the tapes involved elevated later. Burnett is stormed off by shouts. Told her closest friends and family that hardest man I've ever met was Van Dyke. Ever had to use a line to make a joke allegedly turned into a joke among. However, the Carol Burnett show crewniverse said outside of their immediate social circle, Division grew over time when CBS Van Dyke was recommended by management as a possible return visitor at Burnett's early in the 1970s. She flatly declined, claiming she couldn't handle another minute of his erratic energy. Producers attempted to make things more amicable, implying that they could operate independently, drangs or restricted communication. But Burnett remained steadfast in public. Van Dyke's diplomatic praise adds to humor when prompted. But in private, she made it was obvious to her that Van Dyke was a humorous anarchist who has no regard for accuracy and timing for the craft. He took a thinly veiled interview, teasing when questioned in a TV Guide article on variety shows from 1980. Some of them, he said, were just if nearly military in their executions, similar to using a metronome, although he never gave her a direct name. Insiders were aware of the reference. When asked about the phrase, Burnett just grinned and remarked, "That sounds like an individual who never learned to count even after several decades." The ice between they didn't thaw when Burnett got Van is honored by the Kennedy Center in 2003. DJK was noticeably missing from their celebration in spite of being busy, and often featured in these homages. Peers conjectured that he turned down the invitation in hushed tones. Burnett ensured that he was not on the guest list in any event. The message was clearly the gap was still Burnett, renowned for her elegance and keenness, rarely harbored resentment in the ruthless entertainment industry. But with Dick Van Dyke, there were two reasons why it was different, both personal and professional, originating from conflicting egos, creative differences, and a basic inconsistency in the cartoon ideas that she just couldn't neither forget nor forgive. But both performers kept departing. Lasting impressions on the history of television. Theirs was still among the most peaceful, persistent Cold Wars amid the heyday of variety TV during her remarkable life and decades of Carol Burnett's career in showbiz. Not only won the affection of millions with her unmatched humor, however, she has also fostered some of the most enduring and sincere friendships in the entertainment industry. Among her legendary were the closest confidants. Individuals like Lucille Ball, the legendary redhead with a humorous and an ardently devoted friend Burnett. Their admiration for each other developed into a lasting relationship, with Ball infamously referring to Burnett as Bentley. Another dear buddy was Beverly, the famous opera singer Burnett, whose elegance and skill Jim Neighbors was adored and greatly appreciated for as Gumemmer Pyle. He played more than just a friend. He was family. That was the connection that made Neighbors the Burnett's daughter, Jodie's godfather of the affection and trust that characterized their partnership. Additionally, Burnett provided a kind and humorous friendship with Julie Andrews, collaborator in music, and with Betty White, who was always pleasant, whose dazzling charm and humorous she was a natural soulmate due to her intellect. Burnett in heart and humor. Burnett's mentoring legacy is simply as deep as her close friendships. Among the most significant connections, Vicki Lawrence is involved. With this, who Burnett found when he was little and swiftly adopted by her as on the Carol Burnett's apprentice show. Lawrence became a household name in her own right, in large part due to Burnett's kind nature and faith in her potential. Their close relationship lasted beyond the evolution of the stage and screen into a friendship that lasts a lifetime and is full of mutual respect. While Burnett was accepting the Mark Twain Award for 2013's American Humor, a national PBS broadcast of an event, Lawrence gave a passionate testimonial speech. Her remarks struck a chord with feeling and appreciation, creating a striking depiction of a woman who neither routed the comic landscape but also had a profound effect on those blessed to have known her personally beyond the applause and the stage lights. Burnett has shown a deep kindness and fortitude in her own life, especially in relation to her family. Carol Burnett and her in August 2020. Brian Miller, the husband, took over a moment of love and need, requesting the appointment of legal guardianship for Dylan, her teenage grandson. Was not a simple but determined decision be a grandmother's unwavering dedication. Toho, her grandchild, is doing. Burnett had already received the attention of holders of educational rights in providing legal power to supervise and make important choices about. She accepted Dylan's participation in his education with caution and accountability when their petition was granted by the court. Miller and Burnett made a temporary Dylan's guardianship from September 2020 till November 2021, providing him with stability, affection, and direction during especially precarious section of his life. Eventually, the guardian functions switched to the caseworker for Dylan, but the part Burnett plays in offering a caring foundation during that crucial period remains a touching reminder of her strong dedication to her family and persistent moral fortitude in both Carol's private and public lives. Burnett is a wonderful example of loyalty, generosity, and qualities of the heart that have made her a cherished symbol of American amusement, but furthermore, incredibly motivating individual.